Hello and welcome to Bloodborne vs. the Sleuth, episode 7, Ashes to Ashes. In this episode, I'll be heading into the next area of the game, Old Yharnam, and dealing with the Ashen Hunter, which is one of the probably easier hunters to deal with in the game, simply because of the area he's in and the lack of kind of spatial awareness. You can kind of make it that. So here I'm just pushing down towards Old Yharnam. If you watched the previous video, I unlocked the tomb which lets you get down to Old Yharnam. So yeah, if you haven't watched that one, it might help you to go back and watch that, as I already showed how to unlock the tomb. I've already talked about this fight, but as always, just kind of straight to base. There's no gunners here, so it's all melee combat. You can kind of peel them away and break off. That'll help them and I think I'm going to head into Cathedral. Yeah, okay, here we go. So this is heading down into Old Yharnam. One of kind of the more interesting parts of the Bloodborne universe, at least for lore. Old Yharnam's an abandoned area where the hunters have left, and a group of ashen hunters, which are like a splinter group of hunters, have remained to try and keep sort of in order. There was a great fire there. You find out about that if you go into the house in Central Yharnam. There's a note which talks about the Great Fire in Old Yharnam and how they had to abandon it. I don't know much else about the lore, but it's a place where you can find a lot of kind of witch, hag kind of things. Also a lot of werewolves, and the main boss for the area is a kind of a bit of a werewolf boss. It's kind of hard to describe. We'll get there when the rest of but that's the Bloodstarved. Yeah. Definitely, I think that's. I mean, a lot of the humans are kind of going along that kind of route. You can see that they're already kind of growing hair and stuff. But I think because Old Yharnam's been running for a lot longer, been around for a lot longer, it's kind of developed into full blown beasthood. So that's just the trek down to Old Yharnam. In the next clip I'll just be looking at defeating the first kind of person you encounter in Old Yharnam, which is the Ashen Hunter. There's a lot of ways that you can go about dealing with the Ashen Hunter. This is just unlocking Old Yharnam, so as you can see it's been abandoned and hunters aren't wanted here. So you go and open the door anyway. You just that's the guy. And so Old Yharnam, one of the other interesting things about Old Yharnam is that it's quite well known for being a PvP area. So if you're on here with your mates, you might find yourself invaded quite a lot. That in the background is the Ashen Hunter, just saying that we're not wanted here and that he's gonna fuck us up, basically. So what I'm doing here is going to a little secret area. This is where you can fight your first kind of hag witch thing. Again, like Sam said in the background, they do have kind of a beast aspect and they can do quite a lot of damage with their hits, and poison damage. But they are quite easy to deal with if you're quick enough, or if you can do enough damage and get them into a bit of a knockback loop. The other thing I'm doing here is I'm just switching from the torch to the Hunter's Torch. It's a more durable torch. It can also do a little bit more damage in combat. If you're not using a gun, I do advise using it, especially in this area, because most of the enemies have a weakness or an aversion to fire and light-based weaponry. Then if you climb up here, you would probably naturally find this area anyway, and as you progress through the Old Yharnam, as you get deeper, you'll uncover a way back up through here and you'd find this area, but it's quite useful to find it a little bit earlier than that, as you can get the cold blood dews, which are always useful. And now I'm going to push towards the Ashen Hunter. So the Ashen Hunter is set up on a clock tower with a minigun. We won't actually see much of the minigun shot because I'm going to go down one of the routes that avoids a lot of the shooting. But if you progress through the slightly more cautious, safer route, which is kind of to the right as you get down here, you go down some stairs and you go through the buildings, you'll get less fired at, or you'll have less chance of getting fired at, and a few easier enemies, but you'll see a lot more of the gunfire as you move through because you'll have a lot of cover. Whereas what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of do a straight up run towards him, and if you're fast enough with it, his gunfire can't catch up with you, so it's quite useful to take that approach. The other point to raise with the Ashen Hunter is there is another hunter down by the bottom of the clock tower. It's actually a hunter that's killed me 3 or 4 times in this playthrough. I don't think we'll be seeing any of those deaths in this video, but probably in the next one. The hunter at the bottom is a fast build, a very quick build. If you're a heavy build, it's a tough fight. It's a really tough fight. If you're a slightly faster build, it can be easier. The key thing to do really is just not to pay the lower hunter attention until you've dealt with the Ashen Hunter on top of the clock tower, because you're taken into an area where the hunter on top of the clock tower can fire at you, and that's going to leave you dying really quickly. The other thing to watch out for is that this courtyard down here at the bottom of the stairs, the Ashen Hunter on top of the clock tower can start firing at you. So it's best to kind of draw the enemies back and deal with them before walking out here and dealing with his gunfire. So this is the kind of rush route. There's the Ashen Hunter's gunfire. Be sure to move quickly around this whole area. This is where the other hunter is who wants to fight you, but I'm just going to run past and go straight towards the clock tower, straight up these ladders, and get ready for a little bit of a fight. So before you go into this fight, basically the clock tower's got a very small area. So one of the main techniques to deal with the Ashen Hunter on top of the clock tower is to just knock him off, basically, or to get him to fall off, which can be a very useful technique. The only problem with this is that it's pot luck, so before going into the fight, it's probably best to get everything that's going to give you an advantage equipped and ready to go. So that's basically what I've just been doing here. Fire paper is useful. The other thing I'm just doing before I get into the fight is igniting my axe, because as you'll see, he tries to get hits him very quickly, so it's not worth spending time igniting anything or getting anything prepared once you're up at the top of the tower. It's actually quite funny what happens here in this fight against him. So basically, if you try to go in with a heavy attack, he's gonna try and use the pop with the gun. So it's easy to go with light quick attacks. As you can see, every time I'm trying to do a heavy attack, he's just shooting me. And then this happens, where I dodge to a side, and the Ashen Hunter does a double barrel roll off the building, which I've got to admit left me feeling a little bit empty, but I did beat him. So that's well, I'm not sure if I beat him, more the tower he was standing on beat him. But there you go. That's kind of the general tactic with that hunter. You'll see, if you're lucky, he'll fall somewhere where you can collect what the items that are on him. If he doesn't, then you'll be able to collect them at the top of the tower next time you're in that area of Old Yarnum. So as you can see, he just fell into nothingness. This here is a secret area. So This is an area where there's a large gathering of the kind of witch beings. You really just don't want to get into it with them. It's going to be a tough fight, and one that if you're outnumbered, you can't deal with. So you need to try and press your advantage. So what I'm doing here, this area is a secret area above the kind of witches, where you can get some madman's knowledge, get some other bits and pieces. But it can also give you the element of surprise against this witch here. Now with the bigger witches, they can do their kind of roar, which you can see here. What this basically does is it aggroes every other witch that can hear it. So as soon as that witch does that roar, it's basically like an alarm. And it's going to bring all the other witches and kind of the beast men up here to fight. Fire is their main weakness, these guys. So fire paper is brilliant if you got it from Alfred. If not, Molotovs are good, torches are good. As you can see, it makes them a bit more wary to attack. So it's good to have that kind of deterrent when you're dealing with these guys. So what I'm going to do here is, now that I've dealt with the beast, I'm going to push forward a little bit. Thinned out the pack, so it turns into more like a one-on-one fight or a two-on-one fight. One of the main things about both the Dark Souls and Bloodborne games is that you never really want to be in more than a two-on-one situation, because it's very easy to lose track of an enemy, and with all the different kind of rhythms and paces of the different enemies, it's very easy for you to end up getting attacked 3 or 4 times and dying very quickly. So in those situations you want to create space and peel one off, take your time and just kind of focus one at a time, pick the weakest, take that one out, then the next weakest, take that one out. This here is, my understanding is that it was it's a related creature to the blood-starved beast that the witch and the hags were praising. I know that there are some other theories on it, but that's personally mine, considering how close we are to the blood-starved beast's area, which is just down to the right. You might see it, just as the screen kind of turns, is the something chapel. But yeah, that's where it's fighting the blood-starved beast. This is an optional encounter with the ravens. You don't have to do it. It's just good for a little bit of extra XP and blood echoes, and you can get the items towards the back. One thing to remember before you push on any further into Old Yharnam is this little shortcut to open up. So all this does here is open up to the like higher up Old Yharnam, just outside of where the witches were, so you can make a straighter run and avoid that big encounter that I just got through. So that was that. This is the slightly safer route to the clock tower. Probably the best thing about this is that you can get a lot of blood echoes out of it, but I think first time that you're in Old Yharnam, best thing to do is just get the clock tower sorted out, because that's going to really slow you down and lead to a lot of deaths if you're not careful. So all these encounters against the kind of the beastmen and the witches are pretty easy once you've got some fire weapons. This is the faster hunt that I was talking about before that leads to a lot of my death. So as a heavy, this is a hard fight, so again I use every advantage I've got. Molotovs, fire paper. Doing quite well in this first run, not so well after that, but this is quite a long fight if I remember. One of the things that I do find with Bloodborne is you do need a lot of patience with enemies, and kind of wait for your moment and then jump in and attack. Quite often, especially with a heavy hunt, I kind of feel like I should be able to close down fights quite quickly with 1 or 2 hits. I'll sometimes press the advantage and push, and that's okay on a smaller enemy, but once you get into stuff like the hunters, pushing your advantage becomes a bit of a that's what I'm doing here, as I'm really aggroing and getting uptight, and this hunter's just backing off, and then gets me into an area where I'm not sure if that's a man or a woman, but where the hunter feels safe and ready to really take me on. Also, it's worth noting that both the ashen hunter at the top and the one down here have blood vials, so they're able to heal themselves up, meaning that it can be a really long fight. And there we go, I'm dead again. Right, so before taking on the lower ashen hunter again, I've decided that I'm gonna kind of power myself a bit, get some better armor, and go after the charred armor. First, I go and get the blood echoes from the last fight. I've managed to amass quite a few blood echoes, so I can get the armor, I can get myself out of here, and get a level up, get armored up, and get ready to take out that hunter, and to progress on towards the Blood-starved Beast and the more werewolf-infested areas of Old Yharnam. So this is a secret area. This is one that not many people find without an FAQ or a friend telling them. In my case, I used an FAQ to find this area. So the biggest problem here is if you run straight for that chest as you walk in the door, which is the most kind of evident aspect of the area, it's going to aggro everyone on the floor above you and on this floor, meaning that you're going to have an encounter with about 6 or 7 different enemies. And with the varying amounts of powers and speeds, it becomes very unwieldy and very easy to die against. So what you really want to do here is, as you can see, it's starting to build up into an encounter that is pretty unfavourable against hunter, any hunter. So best thing to do is to create some space by running out to the courtyard. The guys don't like light, already covered that, and they don't like fire, so getting them out into a courtyard in daylight actually slows them down a little bit. They're a bit faster in the darkness, you might have noticed that, and it's a little bit easier to deal with them. That just leaves a couple of hag-like witches. They're not too hard to deal with. Now that the faster enemies are gone, I even find time to go and open the chest and get the Temple Blood Gemstone. So, a couple of heavy attacks. If you're using quicker weapons, I heard that they can be a little bit hard to deal with. Easier?
You just flurry them.
Ah, okay. So Sam, who plays a sword cane, is it sword cane? Oh, it's threaded cane.
Threaded cane.
Yeah, a threaded cane build. Says that it's easier to use flurries against these sort of guys. The kind of hags.
And the whip.
And the whips against the bigger ones. Cool. So at the top of this area, you'll get the charred hunter garb, which I'm going to put on. Very, very useful stuff, especially with fire resistance. There's not many fire-based enemies, but when you think you're going to come across one, and you'll probably be able to know because you'll see everything starting to light on fire, it's worth putting on even towards the end of the game, as the really high fire resistance will leave you pretty strong against enemies. And that's been today's show. Please like, follow and subscribe, and see you tomorrow.